Hello there, my name is Troy Choppa, and I will be walking us through the first level of our game. First, once we exit the gate, we will come across some cars in the way. To get to the beginning level, we need to hop over these really quick to get over that wall. So some careful place jumps here will get us right over, no problem. And now, for our goal, the player says that we need to find 8 pieces of scrap. So to begin our little journey, we'll walk over here where we get introduced to the first jump pad, which brings us over the wall. And now we get quickly introduced to the hydraulic platform where the player has to interact with the switch to move the platform up and down. Having it up gives us just enough height to collect our first piece of scrap in the area. Moving on through the junkyard, we'll come across a bit more practice with the jump pads, collecting scrap pieces 2 and 3, hiding just up here. Now, as the player moves through, they will have to interact with both of these switches to put the platforms in the correct position, allowing them to do a little bit of platforming to advance the next area. A couple jumps here will take them to scrap piece number 4, making them already halfway through. And now once they come over here, they'll be introduced to the first red jump pad, showing that they can get a lot more height with these. Carrying on to the right, they'll have to use a couple of jump pads to get over this little hill. Collect scrap piece number 5. And then by jumping on this red platform, we'll see that the scrap piece number 6 is hiding right here in this truck. Collecting that, we can then carry on. The player will have to navigate this bridge of cars laid out before them to get to scrap piece number 7. Be careful not to fall off. And then we go down the ramp, and we head towards the mastery segment of the level, where the player has to use both a jump pad and the hydraulic platform together to get to the next area. A good jump, and we are there, not a problem. Scrap piece number 8, the last one, waiting for us. Now we just need to just make it out of the level. Doing the last bit of jumping and maneuvering to get over this little bridge. Hop down here, and once we deposit our scrap, that will be it for my level. Thank you so much.
Hello, this is Chad Ramsey, and this is my level. The point of this level is to destroy the turret. So the first thing you're going to want to do is come around the side of these car stacks here in the junkyard and get these collectibles, and then that takes you to the introduction of my cable lift and mechanical levers. And the cable lift will take you to the top of this bridge. And cross the bridge to the other side where you'll find another collectible. And then drop down and you'll get to the introduction for the explosive barrels. You'll find your first explosive barrel here that you will use to smash out this wall to enter the cavern. Across the cavern to find another collectible. You'll crouch under this rock to find the cave. Here you will need to use the flashlight as it is very dark in the cave. And then you cross the cave to find a ramp that will lead you into the tower area of my level, where you'll find the practice for both the mechanical lever and the explosive barrels. And you'll need the explosive barrels to gain access to this broken staircase. And on the second level, you just cross to find another collectible and another staircase. And ascending this staircase will take you to the third level, and you'll find another collectible and a hole in the wall that will take you to the practice for the cable lift, which will take you back down to the ground in the junkyard. And follow this other collectible to find the mastery for both the cable lift and the explosive barrels. These explosive barrels tend to be quite volatile, and you want to be very careful with them. And you use this cable lift to take the barrels to the top of the crane where you'll find a basket, and ideally these explosive barrels should be placed in the basket. Sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. Like I said, they tend to be very volatile, so sometimes they just fall apart like that. But the best thing to do is to place them into the basket. And this is the way to destroy the turret, which is the final objective of the level. We'll try again here. Oh, and sometimes the lift will take off without you. But just go back up the stairs, and these levers, that's why I put the levers here, to call the lift again. Give it a second shot. And then, yep, try again to put the barrel into the basket here. Up, and that one fell apart too. And we're going to give this another shot and try the last barrel. Put it in the basket here. And yep, up the staircase. We're going to drop this here, call the lift again. And let's get that barrel in there and see if we can get one in the basket here. And we're going to try this. Oh, that one fell apart too. Sometimes this takes a few tries, but it'll all be worth it in the end. But then, yeah, if you are able to get the barrels in the basket, ideally you come over here, pull the lever, and that drops the barrels onto the turret, destroying it. And that is the mastery for my mechanical levers. And then there's another collectible, and then that leads you to the end of my level. Thank you so much for watching.
Hi, my name is Brandon Long, and I'm the designer of Abandoned Mineshaft. As we approach the start of the level, the player can interact with crates they can open it to gather collectibles. There's an explosive device that they can pick up off the ground to get through the barrier that will lead them into the warehouse. Here we find there's another breakable box with a collectible inside. When the player approaches the next collectible, he sees that he'll have two options of breaking through the door. One, use the explosives, or two, use the non-explosive barrel. As he enters the room, he finds another destructible box that he can use to collapse to get another collectible. The collectible is leading the player up through the tunnel and onto a catwalk. From the catwalk, the player can see where he needs to get to. He can traverse through the dark catwalk, led by the collectibles, to get down by the lift. As he approaches the lift, notices more collectibles and another destructible collectible box. After breaking the box, he can collect the cash. After that, the player can proceed on down to the lift into the mineshaft itself. At the bottom of the mineshaft, there's another destructible collectible. And venture forth, seeing that the way is blocked, shoots the two physics objects down the hallway to break both destructible walls. And the player can then venture forth to the second lift that will take him further down into the mineshaft. After that, he breaks the next destructible collectible. At the bottom of the lift, the player needs to navigate over to the top of the pipe and across the water using the floating boards. When he gets to one end, the player can then traverse the other side of the water to get to where there is a debris scattered across the area. The player can then take a physics object to break through the last destructible wall, venture through the pipe. Led by the collectibles, he can then find the drill core that we're in search for on this mission. Notification has popped, notifying that we have found the drill core, and the player can proceed to the next lift. Player ventures up the pipe, get the last collectible in the area, jump over, get to the lift to exit the mineshaft. After exiting the mineshaft, jumps one last time over the gap and reaches the end of the mission.
Hello everyone, my name is Donovan Clark, and the objective of my level is to restore the waste filtration plant to working order in order to provide the Bastion with a renewable water source. Here, players will be introduced to my destructible objects mechanics, where they'll use explosive crates to knock down the gates, gaining access to the waste filtration plant. On the left, you'll see crates that can be used to destroy gates, or just destroyed in search of loot. Next, players will be introduced to my snapping objects mechanics, where they'll need to use the crate and the gate to build a path to the upper levels of the facility. Once the players gain access to the upper levels of the facility, they'll need to use the replacement catwalks to build a path to the intake platform. As you can see here, there's another crate that can be destroyed in search of loot. Once the players place the second platform, they'll need to jump across the small gap, gaining access to the platform. Players will then use the crates on the left and practice the destructible objects mechanics by blowing up the gate, gaining access to the intake pump. Players can then destroy the other crates in search of loot. Once inside, players will need to replace the T-bend pipe that's missing, and then destroy the crates in the surrounding area in search of more loot. Players will then practice the snapping objects mechanics by replacing the filtration racks and move on to opening the chemical dispensers. Once that's been done, players will continue to practice my destructible objects mechanics by clearing a path and searching for loot with the crates blocking the way. Once the players have cleared the path, they'll need to restore power to the facility by interacting with the control panel. Once the player has restored power to the facility, the waste in the intake tank will begin to rise. Once the waste begins to rise, players will take ticking damage anytime they're above the waste. Players will need to move above the waste and use their grapnel to grab the flowing catwalks and build a path across to the mixing station. Once across the intake tank, players will need to use the crate to destroy the gate, gaining access to the chemical mixing stations where they'll be challenged with the mastery mechanic setup. Here, players will need to jump across the spinning blades and exit the facility. Once the player has exited the facility, they have completed my level and they will continue on to the Bastion.